Hey everyone, this is Elias from RevMatch Media, and today we have a big SUV to review. We have the 2021 GMC Yukon AT4. Yeah, this thing is really massive. Let's get started. We start off in the front and we can see this thing is massive. It is extremely big. It's all about that excess, and this doesn't disappoint. So we have, starting at the top, we have this massive hood. I do love the shape it has. It has a lot of sculptured and kind of like cut in areas. So it's a really nice hood. It's not just one granted, it is a massive piece of sheet metal, but again, it has some shape to it, which is nice. And we get to the grille of this. You cannot miss it. I do love that with this being the AT4, it's the Denali's typically what you're used to with Yukons. You'll have the excess chrome, which I love. That's what that Denali is all about. But with this, we're going more of a sportier, more toned down appearance, as much as you really can when you have such a massive front end. But it's awesome. I do love this color on this grille. It's kind of like this, more towards like a bluish gunmetal, like a blue-green, like a blue-gray color. So it's really nice. It does shine different tones in the light. We do have the front-facing camera. It's been really great. It's so crystal clear. It's definitely a great system to have. And we get to the headlights and we have the LED system in here. I do love these kind of like C, kind of like bracket looking headlights. They're big. And we have again, the three little stacked LED relative, because they're actually still pretty big. And we do have these nice little fog lights down here, which again, with this black accent, looks really good. We come a little bit further down and we do have the red toe hooks, or the red points of grabbing there. And we do have, with it being the AT4, the front end is a little bit different. This has kind of this plastic cover. It is plastic, so at least at this part. But once you get a little bit further back, it does go to a metal plate. So metal protection underneath, with this being more the rugged or AT4 trim. That's what you want to have. You want to have some protection, because when you're off-roading, the whole thing is not just getting there, but being able to bring your vehicle back home, or being able to bring your family or yourself back home. So we do have some sheet metal under there. But yeah, this thing is nice. This thing is big. Well, let's go see what's under the hood and see what we have in there. We get under the hood and we have a big 5.3 liter V8 cranking out 355 horsepower and 383 pound-feet of torque, going through the 10-speed auto and through the 4-wheel drive system. Now, as far as gas mileage, expect about 18 combined, 16 city, and 20 highway. It's a big vehicle. It's a big vehicle, big V8. A couple of things with this. The power delivery is insanely smooth. There are no peaks or spikes in power. There's no dips in power either. It's extremely linear at any RPM range. And paired up with the 10 speed, it is really good at just delivering smooth power. Couple of things. Looking at this V8 is really pushed back. I was surprised by how pushed back this is. And the middle of the wheel is about here, and really the bulk of the engine starts at maybe this component here. So there's a good amount of it pushed back. We get to the front here. This is the radiator, and between here and here, it's actually empty. It's just empty space. It might help with approach angle as well when you're trying to hit the trails in this. But yeah, I'm actually really surprised with this drivetrain. It's been smooth out in the city. No concerns. Oh, it has the dreaded, auto start stop that I don't like in a lot of vehicles, but I do love it in this. I didn't even notice it was on and technically off, but I was really surprised at how good this auto start stop is with this. And with it typically being a big vehicle, you'll feel, you know, the cylinder start, or you'll feel the whole engine kind of rock to get it started, but not with this. So it'll help out with getting that gas mileage that they mention. But yeah, it's been pretty good. Well, let's go ahead and take a look at the wheel and tire package we have. We get down to the wheel and tire package, and these things are massive. So we do have a 20-inch wheel on this. I like the design. I do love the front face of it that is polished with that black, very sparkly black actually. So it does have a lot of pearl to it on the black parts here. Now, we do have a big Goodyear Wrangler tire. We're at 275/60, again, 20-inch wheel. And typically when you're off-roading, you want to have a smaller wheel, but for this, I think it worked well. It worked well. I will tell you, I had a suburban suburban area kind of run in with a curb, but thankfully it's a wide truck. It's a very wide SUV. So you know, I've been driving a tinier car before, and then I come to this, my measurements weren't there, but thankfully, because this has a fairly size tall sidewall, it caught the sidewall. But you do have that, so it's not just about taking this out on the trail, but in everyday life as well. So definitely the tire took a little bit of it, and you know, it's a great tire to have. Speaking about that though, the performance of this on the road has been incredible. Super smooth, road noise is almost nothing. The ride, the bumps, everything has been incredible. And again, it looks really good doing it. Another thing under here is the air suspension. Like I said, we have it at the highest right now, and I can see it, it's big. It's a big suspension system in there. And again, I can actually see some of that body, some of that protection underneath for the drivetrain. But yeah, this has been incredible. And the brakes have been really, really good. It's got a good pedal to it as well, especially when you're trying to bring this big guy to a stop. It really had a good feel. Well, let's take a look at what we have on the side. We get to the side, and this thing is long. This is 210 inches long. That is massive. But it gets even longer. So this isn't the XL. The XL trim actually goes even further to 225 inches. So there's an even longer version of this. And yeah, if you need the space, go for the XL. That's definitely what you want. But we get started, and again, we see that front end side profile, that nice big sculpted hood in the front, a little peek at the headlights there, nice big GMC logo there. And again, we have it at the highest. Don't worry, we'll go to the lowest. But yeah, these wheels look nice and big in here. You kind of need that. I know I mentioned typically you don't do that, but when you have such a big vehicle like this, it wouldn't look proportional if it didn't have this size wheel. But again, the tire really helps out with that. We do have the foldable mirrors here. They have their built-in cameras in there, which are incredibly sharp and extremely useful in this big vehicle, especially when you're dealing with the tires. So when you are off-roading, or just, again, like I was in suburban areas, you want to make sure that when you're kind of moving in and out of parking spots and things like that, you can turn that on and make sure that your tire isn't going to hit any curb or any other object. So that's nice to have there. And again, we just have these massive big doors. The shape, I know it's just a big rectangle, but it's nice. I like it. I do love that. And we have this big window here because we do have a third row. This is a 3-row SUV. Because yeah, you know, if you have the space, go with the 3 rows. So let's go ahead and take a look at our keyless entry test. So I go ahead and I have my key in my pocket, and I'll go ahead and grab the handle, and it does not unlock. Yeah, so I do have to push the button, and then unlock. Yeah, I know, but you know what, GMC, you get a pass. You get a pass because you do have it in the back as well, which is good, because when I'm loading up my kid, I don't have to go, you know, to the front driver's side to unlock it. I'm able to go ahead and unlock it from the back when I have the key fob with me. The other thing, yeah, we do have a step, an electrical step that when you open and close, it is going to hide away. Obviously, it's, there you go. You know, when you're out on the trails, also gives you for nice, good protection. Yeah, those things are solid. So good protection if you're on trails, and you know, let this take the abuse, not the actual body of the AT4. So yeah, it's been really nice. I do love these massive, massive doors, and my kiddo, again, has really enjoyed seeing that little step. Well, let's go ahead and let me hop in, and I am going to lower this to, right now, again, we have it at the maximum height, and I'll turn it on, and we are going to go into the lowest mode. So we go into the lowest mode, and here we go. And there you have it. So we are in the lowest setting. Yeah, up to 4 inches of height change. So that is really good. Right now we are in the entry exit level, which is gonna make it helpful when you have kids or someone is short. You can see significantly lower now compared to how it was earlier. So you are able to just, you know, easier to step in when you wanna get into this big guy. That's always fun. Well, let's go ahead and see what we have in the back. We take a look at the back, and it's big. So it is just a big square, which is fine. That again, this is, I still love the design of it, and we do have some nice taillights here. You know, nice design to them. We just have these little cues, you know, the trims, the colors, that stuff really sets the back off. Couple of things, we do have a hidden windshield wiper, which is nice. That way we don't have something obstructing the view, because even though, you know, it wouldn't even matter if we had it here, because it's still such a massive rear window to look out of. But yeah, we have that. And this does have the tow option. You can tow up to 8,000 pounds. So I believe 8,200, but about 8,000 pounds, which is great if you want to take out your, you know, your water toys out, or anything that you may need to haul or tow. This can do up to 8,000. So the other thing though is our exhaust. Yeah, we don't see any exhaust cutouts. We don't see any design or anything like that. You get a pass. I'd rather have no cutouts for the exhaust than have a fake thing set up and then, yeah, it's blocked off or anything. So I'm not mad about that. So key fob time. So we have a couple of buttons. So obviously when we press the button twice to open up the back area, it is big, so it's a big door. What's great about this though is, even though it's a 3-row SUV, because it's so massive, you still have a good amount of space. Not all the space in the world when the 3rd row is up, but you do have a good amount of space. I have my book bag here that I have all my camera gear. It does fit very well in this area, and you could probably do 1, 2, 3, 4 in here of those, and then you can go vertical. But if you don't have anyone in the back, no problem, because all you got to do is go ahead and just put the seats down, and it's really not a problem. So it's just a matter of putting the seats down, and when you put the seats down, you get a lot more space in here, and you can even put the front, the middle, the captain's chairs down as well from here. So it's definitely, yeah, it's definitely got a ton of space here. And the other great thing about that is that you can actually do that from the driver's seat. So if I'm doing curbside pickup and I forget that the back seats were up from maybe the last time I had some friends in or family in here, I can simply press the button and it will bring down the third row, which is nice. Now, time for the startup. This actually has remote start. So simple, 1, 2, and it turns it on. That's it. No gimmicks, no holding it down. The range is actually really good. I was able to do it from the top of my apartment. I'm on the 3rd floor and the car was a little bit further out and no issues. The only thing though is it doesn't really have a beep, so it's a little difficult to kind of know when the car turns on, and it's not that loud of a V8 either. Yeah, well, let's go ahead and hop in and go for a ride. You get into the Yukon and there is so much room. This is massive. There's a ton of space here. So let's get started with the little things regarding the AT4. So the AT4, when you get in, you're gonna see this one has the black leather option and it has the brandy accented items on the seats, the stitching of the wheel, the stitching on the seats as well. Everything that requires stitching is in that brandy color. It's a really nice color. It really breaks up the black that is here. So there is a lot of black, but again, those little, even on the dashboard, you see the stitching on there. It looks really good. I love the color. And when we take a look at the armrest, it's extremely comfortable. On the left-hand side, you know, my arm, I was thinking putting my arm up here, which is typically where you put it in a vehicle, but it felt a little bit uncomfortable, but then I realized, oh, we have a massive armrest down here and it is so comfortable. So it's definitely a great ergonomically placed item. And we have these like aluminum pieces all around, especially on the door as well, which is nice. Then we get to the seats and these things are big. They're big and they're comfortable. And the leather, again, with that brandy colored accent on it, it looks really nice. I do love the fact that, you know, they're big, but yet they're soft and firm at the same time. And also this does have the heated and the vented seats, which is a nice touch. The venting on this we've had to use because it's hot. It's been really good. It's been really good. I've noticed 2 types of different venting with seats. One is that it'll cool you down, and the other one that it feels like the seats are being cooled themselves. In this case, for the Yukon AT4, it feels more like the seat is being cooled, which is good because it's not blowing air into my back. I just have a cool surface that I am leaning against. It's nice. I do love that. And again, it's just a very comfortable seat. Adjustability was no problem. Everything is very easily accessible on the left. And yeah, it just works really well. It's a really good seat. And again, my wife as well loved it. My wife was super comfortable in this. So definitely a good setup. We get to the steering wheel and this thing is nice. The feel of it is really nice leather on it. And again, we have that brandy colored stitching, which is again a nice little touch to break up some of this almost monotonous black, but it feels really good in your hands. And when you are turning, the feedback on it is really good as well. And there's a couple of things with the Yukon that I really love, these buttons on here, and some that I don't. So what I do love about it is we do have some controls in the back. We do have radio controls or volume and next track. I love it. I love the fact that you have those in the back. It's always been one of my favorite things that FCA has implemented in their cars, and to know that this Yukon has it is awesome. You know, it makes a world of a difference when you're holding the wheel like this and you just want to change the track and you don't want to have to reposition. Your fingers are already in the back. So great stuff there. Now, where it does kind of get a little confusing and I'm still making the mistake is the front. So the front, we have like an up, down, left, right, but the left and the right are actual buttons. They're actual buttons that you press in, but to activate the up and the down, you actually have to kind of spin this little wheel. Yeah, it's, I don't know, I'm not too, yeah, I keep wanting to press the up button. That's, yeah, that I think that's probably a design thing that should have either been, you know, that physical button at the top, or not even have that little wheel, just have a up, down, left, right, A/B start. So it would have been nice to just have that. But other than that, and same thing with the cruise control side as well. So you activate it as the actual physical button, but you move that little wheel to change the speed. So little thing, but yeah, definitely would have made a difference with the way that I, you know, interacted with the wheel. So we have that. We get to the gauge cluster, and there are a couple of things. We do have the analog gauges. We have your tach on the left, your speedometer on the right, but the middle is a screen, and there's some good stuff in this. What I do love about this is the top row. So the top row gives you a lot of information, especially with this being more of the rugged off-road model. There's crucial information you always have to have available. There's no need for me to be moving any modes or shuffling through panels, and it doesn't kind of, you know, sometimes like other systems where if you have the all gauges kind of option, it covers up and gives you no other option on the actual main screen. So we do have the top row, which has those smaller gauges, but very effective. So we have things like your oil, we have your temperature, we have your gas, as well as your battery. You can still go into the system and change, you know, your main screen area. So fuel, oil life, tire pressures, air filter, brake pads, fuel economy, you know, your follow distance, you know, that kind of stuff, engine hours, transmission fluid, temperature. So trailer brake, because you can again tow 8,000 pounds with this. So definitely, and obviously your same thing that you would see in the heads-up display regarding the pitch and the roll. So yeah, it's a nice little screen. I do love it. I've been keeping it simple with this and just left it with the speedometer in the middle, because the analog gauges are a little difficult to read because it's like a square, like more of a jagged, angular gauge, but with a circular feel to it. Yeah, so it's easier. Actually, I don't even need that. I can just use the heads-up display. But yeah, I do, again, like I said, the gauges at the top is really where this gauge cluster is a really big winner. We do have a heads-up display. It is massive. It's a 15-inch, they say it's a 15-inch heads-up display, and it darn well looks like it. It is massive, and there's tons of things that you could change on it. So we do have some buttons on the left-hand side here, which is where you change them. It's a little difficult to kind of get to, but or to see what you're changing. But yeah, I mean, we have different modes. Probably my favorite has been the off-road mode, where it kind of shows you the pitch and the roll and the drive mode that you're in, if you're in two-wheel drive or four-wheel drive. So you have that, as well as the speedometer and the speed limit. So that's what I've had up there, and it is clear. It is clear. Now, I've always said that the Land Rover Discovery has been kind of the standard of crispiness to that display. This is there. This is there, and the fact that it has all this information available for you makes it now my top choice. I do love this. This is the best heads-up display that I've used. We get over to the infotainment system, and we do have a big screen as well. It's a nice size screen. You do have Apple CarPlay, and you do have wireless Apple CarPlay. Yes, we do have wireless Apple CarPlay, which is good. And this has been better than the other Apple CarPlay systems that I've encountered. Now, what's great about this is So it does connect via Wi-Fi and Bluetooth, but what's crazy is, remember I've discussed it before, where when I go by my supermarket, my phone wants to connect to that and it breaks up the connection. It did it on the BMW, on 2 different BMWs. Not with this. So GMC, whatever you guys did, definitely improved it. And I witnessed that when I was trying to set up these GoPro cameras. You can, you know, check it on your phone, what it's actually, the angle it's recording, and it does have to connect to their own Wi-Fi. It was not letting me connect to it. So I did have to say, stop connecting. So it is a good, strong connection, and it won't let it go. It won't let it go to any other network. So that's good. This Apple Wireless CarPlay, this is what you need to do in order, all these manufacturers need to do in order to make that successful. So, and again, it's been really nice to have that big screen here. The system itself is good. It's very self-explanatory. Nothing really big in the sense of, like, there's no deep menus that will get you confused or anything like that. So it's very simple, very straightforward. But overall, the screen has been really good. And, you know, very simple to just go back to your Apple CarPlay and go from there. Now, we get a little bit lower and to the left, and this is where it's different. It's a little bit different. I'm not sold on it 100%, but that is the gear selector. So there is no lever, there is no knob. They are buttons, but they're more like switches. It's weird. So you have the park, that's a traditional button you push in, and then the reverse, there's a little opening there for your finger, and you lift it up. So you lift up to go into reverse. Then neutral is a button, so push the button in, and then drive is, again, another opening where you put your finger and you lift it up. Yeah, that's a lot of things. I don't know. I don't know if I'm sold on this, but it's been okay. It's nothing. Yeah, I'm not sold 100% on this. What isn't bad is the low gear. So when you go to the L for low gears and you have your gear selectors on the left and the right, they're actual buttons, minus and the plus sign. So that's not bad. That was actually pretty good in order for you to be actually fairly close to your hand being on the wheel. So that's not bad. Then we come a little more to the right, and there's this kind of like little hidden compartment here. It's a little tricky to get to as well. You do have to kind of push this button and slide it over, and it's a fairly deep compartment in there as well. So not sure what you would really put in there. Like literally my whole hand can fit back there, and then to close it you have to push again that little latch in the back. But yeah, we have that there, and we come a little bit lower. We have the controls, so the physical buttons when you want to control what's on the screen there, and the home button. One thing I wish this had was a camera button, an actual camera button, but it doesn't. So I do have to press the home button to get out of there and push the camera button. It is, again, like I said, something I wish we could have had as a physical button, because the cameras on this are exceptional. And you have so many different views. It's insane how many views you have of this, especially when you're wanting to tow something and you want to hook up that hitch. It's really, really good system. So, and clear too. Biggest thing, simple thing is big screen, clear cameras. That's all you really need. But the fact that this adds all those different angles really makes it an even better system. So that's that. When we get a little bit lower, we have the AC controls. Simple, nothing out of the ordinary, nothing difficult, which is good. You want to keep things simple there. We have, again, the heated and cooled seats right in there, not a problem. Then we come to the USB connectivity. We do have USB-C and we have USB-A. Good thing to have both, depending on what device you have. Glad you're not having to really lock into one specific option. And we do have, again, your little 12-volt connector right there on the side. And then we have the wireless charger. Now, the wireless charger in this is a little tricky in the sense that you do have to be patient. When you place your phone there, there is a small delay before, or actually maybe a more significant delay than I would have personally wanted when you place it there to indicate that it's charging. But it's pretty good. You take it off, and again, I'll leave it there for a little bit, and there you go. Now, so you can see, so at first I thought this charger straight out sucks, but it doesn't. It doesn't. It was me where I was being impatient. I was kind of doing one of these to get it to catch that little point of charge, but it was me. I had to be a little bit more patient. You just place it down, it will eventually catch the charging. Then we get to the cup holders, and we have big cup holders. You know, definitely good size that if you go Texas size cup, you'll have space between them. So that's good. Now, this is awesome. We come to the armrest, and it's big. It is a massive thing. It could literally be, you know, its own kind of seat, but it's not. Obviously, don't sit on that. But it's just really big. I do love that you have like a little surface here on the top that looks to be for a phone. Missed opportunity of wireless charging up here. Yeah, I would say that would have been nice to have wireless charging here for maybe your passenger. But we do have this here, and when we open this up, there is a ton of space in here. Couple of things that I do love about this armrest is you do have a little LED light in there that is going to illuminate what's in there, which is good because, again, we are in a sea of black, so to speak, with this interior. So the fact that you have that little light there to light up what's in there is a nice touch. And then comes a really cool thing where up here there is a button, and you push it, and this thing actually moves back. When you move it back, you have even more compartment here. You can put a book bag here, a purse in here, any big item, as well as there is a little sliding drawer in here, which looks to be good for an iPad. Yeah, I would say a nice little iPad in there. And then you can just slide that there, and you can go ahead and just push the button and move the armrest forward. Another good thing about it is that you do have cups in the back. You do have two big cup holders, again, back here, which is great when you want to, you know, you get your food order, you put it here, your drink, and then you want to pass it to the passenger in the back. So yeah, awesome little thing. And I did it. My kiddo was able to grab the water bottle that I had for him there, and it was good. I didn't have to really overextend myself to give it to him there. Awesome. Love that. Now, we get to the second row. The second row is big. There is a lot of space. Even so, right now, my kiddo wanted to play with the screens because there are screens on this. These do have two screens, or behind the driver and passenger for the captain's chair. Now, he was comfortable, loved it. The screen is nice, but he did have a complaint. 6-year-olds, you know, they voice their opinions. There are no games on this. So it is strictly navigation and USB music, as well as the HDMI connection. So it does lack like a system of games or something entertaining for the kids. So you do have to bring additional items in order for those screens to be essentially useful. He has been sending me directions because this is great. So if you're driving, you're focusing, you want to, you know, do your thing, and your passenger in the back has an address for you, they can input it and send it to you. So then you can accept it, and your GPS will guide you to that. That's good. Keeps your eyes on the roads, your hands on the wheel, and you're not distracted. Nice little feature to have there. But again, it definitely needs some games. The the Chrysler minivan did have some games. Even the simplest of things had him entertained. Tic-tac-toe had him entertained for hours. So little missed opportunity there. But other than that, you know, I'll probably hook up his Nintendo Switch just so that he can experience it on there. We get to the third row, and dear Lord, the thing is massive. This is a massive SUV though, so it definitely has a ton of space. And even this not being the XL is big. It is big. The XL being even longer, it's insane. It's a massive SUV. And when we get to the cargo area, we actually have a good amount of space. Typically with an SUV with 3 rows, you're gonna significantly sacrifice the trunk area or the cargo area. But now with this, it definitely was a pretty good size. You know, if you're doing a big grocery run though, be prepared to bring those seats down. But again, it's very easy to do when all you need to do is press a couple of buttons here inside from the driver's seat. Really awesome thing. Now let's talk performance. Underneath we have the 5.3 liter V8 cranking out 355 horsepower and 383 pound-feet of torque, going through the 10-speed auto and then through their 4-wheel drive system. Right now we are in 2-wheel drive. We don't really have a need right now for anything other than 2-wheel drive. Now the big change with this though is the rear end. So the rear end is an independent rear suspension. No more solid axle, and that's not a bad thing. I know a lot of times it's like, you know, especially on an off-road thing, you want to have a more rugged rear end. But for this, in my car group, someone did mention that, you know, how is this the new independent rear feel? Because the previous models felt like a truck and it wasn't that comfortable. I will have to report that I've never driven another Yukon other than this one, but I can tell you that this is extremely smooth. And I've gone over bumps where the rear hits, you know, the bump hits the rear on one side, but not the other. And it's been extremely comfortable in absorbing those. It hasn't done the typical jitter that you get when you hit a solid rear axle, bump on a solid rear axle. So it's been nice. It's been super comfortable. This thing is smooth. Now, we do have different power modes with this. We do have normal, we have sport, off-road, and tow/haul. And when you go into sport mode, it does get more responsive. It holds the gears. It is a little bit more on the sportier side. And it sounds okay. Don't expect, it's not really throaty V8. It's more like an airy V8, but it's good. It's good. The power delivery is extremely smooth and linear. There's no like kind of peaks or any like spikes in power, which can be unsettling sometimes. It's just extremely linear, and I do love that in this truck, in this SUV. It's been extremely good. That's probably one of my favorite things. And again, the suspension has been spectacular in this. So we do have different modes that you can change the height. Now, a couple of things with that is that you do have to, in order to get that maximum ground clearance, you do have to be in 4 low. Yeah, I can see that being only really used when you're off-road, but sometimes you can be off-road and not need the 4 low. Sometimes 4 high is fine, you know, just to have all 4 wheels spinning. But yeah, that's kind of the only thing with this, that in order to get that maximum height, you do have to be in 4 low. Now, this has been awesome because, again, with that suspension, it auto levels, and I think that's what makes this really good as well for everyday driving. When we're loading up things when we've loaded up things in the back, like the groceries, and it notices that it's squatting a little bit, it'll auto correct it. Depending on how many passengers are in the vehicle, it will auto correct, auto level, which is great. I think that this air suspension has been what has made this extremely comfortable and just a great SUV to ride in. The other thing as well, the brakes. The brakes are really good. They're nice and meaty, and I feel like when you brake, that the suspension helps make sure that you don't go forward too much, and when you accelerate, you won't go back too much. And again, the acceleration is a little bit, you know, you're not gonna go back on your seat too much, but the brakes definitely help out with, the suspension definitely helps out with hard braking, which is good. The other incredible thing with this is the turning radius. The turning radius for this is pretty good. It's surprisingly good. I was amazed at how tight this massive SUV, we're talking over 200 inches of an SUV. It's massive, but it really can turn in really tight spaces. And again, if you can't make it, obviously you have, just be ready to use your little gear shifters to go in reverse and then go forward, and, or not shifters, gear buttons, yeah. But yeah, it's been really, really good. Now, who's this for? Man, a lot of people. So with it being the Yukon and the more rugged option, I would say, you know, if you're looking for a people hauler and you're wanting to go out on adventure, this is a really good option. We have the air suspension, we have the V8 in this, we do have the enormous amount of space in here, cargo and for people. It's just really good. Now the price, get ready for it, but again, when you do get a lot for that price. But yeah, I think if you have the money and you're looking for that more rugged option instead of the Denali option, which honestly, I kind of like the styling more of this one. The chrome is awesome. I love the chrome in the Denali. I mean, that's the staple. That is their, you know, that is the trademark of the Denali. You're gonna expect chrome, but I kind of like the subtlety and ruggedness of the AT4. So yeah, now, would I buy this? Yeah. without a doubt, I would buy this because it's just been so good. And my favorite thing has been, my kids started school this week, so I have been dropping them off. You get the stairs. You get the stairs because it's a big SUV first, but it's also a really great looking SUV. It's not just a big box. It does have some shape to it. The front grille looks great. The wheels look great. The height looks great. And yeah, I've been kind of enjoying the fact that when you open up the door, the guardrails or the step comes out, and also the suspension lowers. So yeah, it's been a little great moment of being able to show off. But this has been a really incredible ride. It's relaxed me. When I've been driving this, I felt so relaxed, rejuvenated almost. So the fact that I can have a vehicle that can do that, because typically when you're driving, you have the negative connotation of, I have to drive, and you know, you get tired and all that kind of thing that comes with driving, but not with this. I've actually wanted to go out on a drive and just relax in this. Just go for a nice long drive, nice little roads, and have a good time. Well guys, I hope you've enjoyed my review of the GMC Yukon AT4. And remember, find the right gear. See ya.